People are still coming in. I find the admin really quite stressful. I'll get better, won't I? Right, okay, here we go. Cheryl and Wendy's coming. Right, okay. I better tell them that that it's been recorded then.
Well,
Uh,
they can see it in the corner.
oh, okay, thank
That's
you.
how I knew that you weren't.
Okay, thank you. All right, so yeah, and I am going to share this. So if you, I'd rather you had your video on, but obviously, if you don't want it to be shared, then you can turn your video off. So yeah, so the other source of inspiration that this protocol's come from is Jekyll and Hyde, and I don't know if anyone. I'm guessing some of you will have read it, maybe not all of you, but even if you haven't read it, you've probably heard as an expression. He's a right Jekyll and Hyde. Someone would change how many sugar lumps they're having, and oh yeah, he's right Jekyll and Hyde. Or is everyone familiar with the expression Jekyll and Hyde? Is it? Yeah, and it's to describe someone who's got like basically two complete different characters. And so Stevenson wrote this book in 1885, so it's towards the end of the 19th century, and it's about this doctor. He's a really well-respected doctor, lives in Kensington. People like him, and and he's a scientist. He's an explorer. He's obviously a very very clever, a well-respected man. But he becomes interested in the consciousness, and he becomes interested in this other part of himself. He wants to act out things that he couldn't normally do as a Victorian respected character. He wants to, you know, whether Victorian society, obviously they didn't talk about sex, they didn't talk about drinking, or basically they didn't really believe in what we take for granted, which is an unconscious. So this character Jekyll, who is a doctor, discovers that when he takes this like potion, he becomes this Hyde character, this sort of character that would just do whatever he wants. He doesn't care about society limits or rules. He can do whatever. So he goes out murdering people. He's a real monster. He looks ugly as well, and he looks very different. When Jekyll's the doctor, he's a handsome, quite a large, quite a tall man. He's got rosy cheeks. He's got the light shines in his eyes. But when he's Hyde, he's this kind of dwarfish, apish, distorted, horribly ugly man. Because Victorians believed that ugly people that reflected their souls. So yeah, so this character would change, and in obviously the writer Stevenson's exploring what we take for granted, which was having different altered states, having different parts of us. We just take this for granted. We know that sometimes we tap into something that feels good and we feel empowered and we feel confident, and other times for no reason, this part of us who is either low self-esteem or just can't operate or can't even speak. You must have had that. Suddenly you're just overcome with shyness and you lose the ability to speak for no reason. Well, I mean, I've certainly had that, but I mean, I'm sure even if you don't have it to that extreme, you must have you've experienced that kind of situation where some part of you that you don't really want in that situation has just turned up. So in the end of Jekyll and Hyde, what happens is, unfortunately for Jekyll, he it starts off in a quite controlled way. He can just take whatever he wants and then choose to be Hyde. So he can play both ways. He can be the doctor, and then whenever he wants, he can then go and be Hyde. So he feels like this is great. And Stevenson makes this great comment, which is, man is not just one, but he's two. Obviously, we know that we're not just two either. We're actually, that's really about Sigmund Freud, because at the same time as Stevenson's writing this book, Sigmund Freud's exploring the id, the ego, and the superego. So this sort of like psychology has been blown open at the same time as Stevenson's writing this book. So that was really, I had to teach this in school, Jekyll and Hyde, to kids. And it obviously resonates with me. It resonates with me from the games that my sister played, as a person experiencing parts, sometimes feeling very fragmented, and going obviously into hypnotherapy. It's just fascinating. It's fascinating, this sort of ability to read that, or when you learn that you have the ability to sort of bring forth the part that you want and you have more control. So it's not always automatic. In the end of Jekyll and Hyde, he loses the ability to take control. Hyde becomes the overwhelming person, and sort of Jekyll's kind of like disintegrated. We don't obviously want that, and we want to be able to bring forth the part of us that we want. And we use stuff like alter egos, and there's stuff like lots of NLP ticks as well, NLP techniques, as well as hypnosis, whether it's direct suggestion. But this protocol, so it's employing alter ego. It's going to be employing some anchoring, and obviously, but ultimately, it's a story which is going to employ parts. That's the idea. So what I really want all of you to do is to think about something or a part of you that you don't really, it's not, something recently in this week perhaps, or recently that is annoying, that turns up, that's not helpful, that you kind of like to bugger off or to reduce. Don't say bugger off, because actually we know as therapists that actually all the parts have a function and they're normally doing something really good for us. So I could think about for me, the part that's often made my life difficult or made me not perform well when I wanted to is often the really sensitive part that's absorbing everything. But I know that that's a really valuable part of me. Just don't want it to necessarily come at certain times. So yeah, so respectfully, I'm asking you to look at the people, the part of you that you'd like to change in certain situations, either to change it in some way or to alter it in some way or to value it in some way, basically give it what it needs today, but just have a sense of who or what that part is. So if you can you just close your eyes for a minute and just do that, just sort of like maybe taking a few slow deep breaths. And just think of something or someone, some part of your feeling that you'd like to get rid of, really, that you'd like to change in some way so it affects less impact on you. Okay, and then just open your eyes and just have a look around the room and just find someone in this room that's really special to you. And just think about that person. And actually, you can let all of you think about all the people whose lives you've changed. All of you here change lives all the time. You're all incredible people. How many people's lives you've changed. And as you do that, can you just think of that love that you've shared, people that supported you on your journey, people whose lives you've really made a difference to. And as you think of that, can you just think of something you like, a place you'd like to be, or something you'd like to do you haven't quite done yet for whatever reason? Something you want to do, something you want to feel. You just get a sense of that. Okay, and that's really what we're going to be looking at today, or taking in a moment. So, is everyone ready to do some hypnosis?
Yeah.
Yes, great. Okay, all right, excellent. And I want to thank you again for being here. Honestly, I love you all, incredible people, and I feel really privileged to have you. And by the way, I think I mentioned to a few who already came, because a couple of people said, "Why am I not charging?" And it's not because I don't think I'm great. It's not because I don't think this is a great protocol. It's really because I feel genuinely honoured to have you here, and I feel like I want this to go to the right people, so I understand it the best initially anyway. So that's why, and I'm just grateful that you're here. So right, so if you just make sure you're comfortable, if you've got support in your back, for something, okay, and once again just sort of settle into your space and take in a slow deep breath. And then I just want you to make your hand sort of relaxed, and then hold your hands, it's about 4 inches away from your face, and your fingers are pointing away from you. Okay, and then just find a spot or a line on the back of your hand. And really just focus on that now. You just can even look at the colour of it. You can look at the skin. And as you do, you can just get a sense of your heart, how it's beating. Really look at that hand and that spot, that line. So understand that I'm really not speaking to your conscious mind at all, speaking to your unconscious mind. And as you really lock your attention on that hand of yours, that hand that you've actually had your whole life, that line, that spot, just noticing all the colours in your skin, the different textures. And as you really lock your attention on that and you're focusing on that, I want you to understand that I'm not talking to your conscious mind, I'm talking to your unconscious mind. I'm talking to that hand, and when that hand of yours is ready to let you experience a really profound hypnotic trance and let you go to a place where you can make incredible shifts today, do something incredible for yourself and for other people as a result. You want the hand to begin to move towards your face. So you can trust your unconscious mind just to do it at its own natural pace, because you can't do this wrong. That's right. And as you continue to focus now, I want you to let go of everything you felt before about yourself, everything you believed. You continue to look with tension on your hand. That's right. That's right. And when your hand is ready to let you go into trance, move all the way around. So that hand of yours is facing your forehead. That's right. When it does, you can just close your eyes and you can settle into that space, into this time, into this place, and really sink now into a trance. That's right. You're doing this perfectly. That's right. Just let go. The perfect rate for you. Because you know that you have a conscious mind, a part of you that appears to control your thoughts and your feelings. And you also have another part of you that's sometimes called your unconscious, in the back of your head. And that is the part that runs your automatic behaviour, a part of you that runs your ability to breathe, to walk, to talk once you've learned how to do those things. Although there is no physical evidence for the mind at all, we all have a sense of it. When you have a mind to do something, where does that feeling come from for you? Because you are the master of your ship. And I wonder if you could get a sense of that, if you were to allow yourself to relax and go deeper. If you were to get a sense of it, that mind of yours, how would you know it's your mind at all? Because some people believe that our unconscious minds will join together, like stars in the galaxies or super speed highways, and you can use your unconscious mind to tune into, in like an antennae, into the super consciousness, which knows no space or time. Which is why I believe, even before the days of the internet, for the days of travel by train, you would have artists producing similar work, which you can produce of greatness. You can produce great work of greatness, even though they've never seen each other's work before. Whatever you believe about your mind, your conscious and your unconscious, I want you just to relax, even now or in a few moments, as you begin to focus the part of your body you believe your mind to be. That's right. And you can understand that you can't do this wrong. So you can feel a growing confidence about that or anything else you want. Because there is no physical evidence of a mind, which means you can imagine whatever you wish to imagine now. And I'd like you to imagine now that your mind has a consciousness, and that consciousness can expand through space and time, and that you're traveling through your mind and body through space, and time. An eternal spirit. So go deeper now and relax into now, into now. Because when I say now, I mean that now that simultaneously runs through the past, the present and the future. And because time in mind is an illusion, it's easy to travel back in time by merely looking at the stars in your mind, because now that I've mentioned them, you can see the stars, can you not? And if you cannot, that's perfectly okay too, because you can get a sense of a vast nothingness, which yawns all the way to the beginning of space and time. You can get a sense of that emptiness, that blackness, that void which contains the infinite, the beginning and the end. So wherever you experience the beginning of creation as a vast blackness, or like the stars in the sky, or in your mind's eye, the light, the energy, the ability to transport you now back to a dream which you thought you'd forgot, or really forgot to remember. You can imagine yourself dreaming. A dream that begins now. And of course, there is no actual physical evidence for the mind. So you can come with me now as you imagine yourself in another time, in another space. I want you to be brave, because we are going to travel somewhere dark amongst the shadows. Because sometimes in order to be reborn and transformed, you need to drift through the mist of time to release your creativity. Sometimes you need to let go of the past, of things that have held you back. Sometimes by letting go of outdated beliefs or unkind words that do not serve you, you will let your powers emerge, even though it sometimes shakes the world around you. So imagine yourself traveling back through space and time, and whether you believe that you have one life, one body, one conscience, let go now and drift. And you can feel things changing. Imagine colours changing, sounds changing. Or is it just that your focus is changing? It doesn't really matter what, because you can't do this wrong. But you can feel something is changing. Locate that change now. Or it's a drop of your body temperature, a sensation in your body, a heaviness, a lightness, or just a sense of your focus on it. And as you become aware of it growing. That's right, you are doing this perfectly. You're all doing this perfectly. Perhaps because you are all extraordinary. And just imagine now that the you that thought that was you, isn't even you at all. Get a sense of that now, being someone being born into this moment now. And whoever comes forth to fill this time and space, welcome them in from the depths of your psyche, because you can trust your unconscious mind, just the way you did as a child. And some people believe that we can have parallel souls living in parallel times and places. And some people believe that our unconscious is little more than a beating heart, an automatic part of us that controls our blood flow, our breath, and the hormones in our body. But whatever you imagine now. Perhaps you can dream, because it doesn't really matter to the unconscious mind, which works in unique and powerful ways to you, but you find yourself now in an unfamiliar time, walking. You're walking in the streets. And you appear from the pace that you're keeping to be in a bit of a hurry. Something's been irritating you. Something hasn't gone your way. Perhaps you can feel it from the beat of your heart, from the thoughts that drift through your mind. And your clothes feel stiff and restrictive around you. And because you have a unique way of imagining now, you might even experience this as a colour. You're walking quickly and the roads thankfully are becoming less narrow as you move through them away from the density of the city. You're in London, and the year is 1835, and if you didn't know that from the slightly heavy fog, which casts patterns and shadows between the lamps and the yellow half moon, you would have known from the busy, winding streets, from the young children playing, who you'd seen earlier that day with no shoes on. Of course, you also have seen the stage cabs that go past you. And you cast your mind back to the early irritation and having to shout out something unpleasant. I wouldn't want to suggest, well, I don't have the imagination. I wouldn't want to suggest anything vulgar or crude, but the driver of the cab was shockingly shit, and he nearly ran you over by a horse. And you got dirty rainwater all over you. So the year is 1835, and you can let go now and enter the open doorway's transformation that's waiting for you. You get a sense that something radical is happening, something radical from anything you've experienced in this life. And as you look around, you can notice that the half moon is slightly covered by a passing cloud. The air is somewhat gloomy and foggy, and there's a stillness in the air, so it's easy for you to pick up sounds. And you can still hear the sounds of quiet footsteps in the pathway ahead of you. There's something comforting about that. Because it's been a difficult day. And you've been frustrated by a part of you that turned up uninvited and behaved in a way that you're unhappy with. But now that you're walking in the wider streets of Kensington, you can become aware it is much quieter. So much quieter. In this quiet, you feel hopeful of the change that is waiting for you. You've been thinking about this change for a while, something that you've longed to do. Get a sense of that now. It's possible to tell from the beating of your heart that you're excited. You get a sense of that excitement now. Anticipate great change. And I wonder what that change will look like, will feel like, will be like when you fully manifested and transformed. Because you surely know by the clothes that you're dressed in, by the manner of your gait, and the way that others greet you as they pass you in the street, that even though there is part of you that's holding you back, others don't see it. They only see you as a doctor. That's right, you're a doctor, a scientist, a person of extraordinary talent and ambition. It's easy to forget because you're so used to having your skills and talents that you take them for granted. As you walk through the streets towards your home, you get a sense of that blood travelling through your veins. You're a doctor and have been for some time. You've been working in secret for some time, because this is an age which is highly sceptical of all your discoveries and learnings. You've discovered things about people's minds and how you can change your mind, how you can step into a boat and row from one part of your mind to another, and in the process, manifest power and change. But some people are scared. They've asked you not to explore this, not to speak of it, because you might damage your reputation in your field. But you feel compelled to serve humankind in the best way. Do you not? You want to enrich people. You can sense your mind now, wherever it is, whether it's your mind alone or a mind that's joined to others through space and time, instilling you with fantastic powers to transform and manifest. And although many of the streets are dark and gloomy, you feel more comfortable as you get closer to your home. And here the houses are large and handsome, and on your way home, you pass one or two people who know you and recognize you. They bow their heads slightly as they walk past you because they recognize you. You were a doctor and you've helped so many people recover their health, have you not? And you have cast a light where before there's been shadow and mist. But you know that not everybody is comfortable with the power you have manifested. You've spoken about your interests to other doctors and other scientists, but because it's 1835, people are afraid to use their minds to change drastically now, to unleash your superpower of your unconscious mind, to set your dreams asail. And I wonder what your dreams are doing now as you wander towards your home in London's Kensington. Of course, you hadn't always wanted to be a doctor, all the restrictions. Earlier you felt the frustration, the anger, the tiredness, the fear, the doubt. Somehow it just turned up. But now you've decided to let it go. You're a doctor. The first person you're really going to work on is yourself. And you know this journey is a safe one. And you're going to get rid of all your limiting beliefs and manifest that super powerful part of you. Because there is something more than you want, something aligned with your higher purpose. Something that will empower you to break free useless bonds and allow you to live the life you were born to lead. And of course, there are some things in your life that you're proud of, duties you have that enrich you. But there are also powers deep within the bowels of your psyche ready to be tapped. And as you stand at the doorway of the house, you realise that you've forgotten the key. So you ring the bell, and a slim man opens it. "Welcome home," the butler says and takes your hat. "Thank you, Paul," you say to your butler, noticing that there is already a beautiful fire roaring in the parlour. But you're not interested in sitting down and relaxing in the warmth of the fire or the sitting room, despite its attractive and mesmerising glow. You feel pulled in the direction of the lavatory. The lavatory, which is located towards the end of your property. In order to get to the lavatory, you have to exit the warmth of your home. At the point of the kitchen and follow down a winding path of stone. Each stone is embedded into the grass outside, and for a moment the moon seems brighter and clearer, and you fancy that in it you can see reflected that part of you you've long been dreaming of. What is it that you've been dreaming of? Wanting to do? That part of you that has the vision, the tenacity, the confidence, all the abilities to succeed in the endeavour, which makes your heart beat, excitement and joy. Get a sense of that you reflecting back from the moon. See the expression in your face, get a sense of that joy and that power, that you. And anticipate what it would be like to walk in his or her shoes. to breathe with his or her heart, to live in whatever time and space you imagine. And I wonder what it would be like when you manifest that you that has the confidence to move towards the life you want to have. I wonder how you will know when you've taken that path and have begun the journey. What would that first step look like, or the second step? Perhaps this is the first step. Being here now. I wonder if you take the second step immediately after this call, or a week from now. At the end of the garden and opposite the lavatory is an old gnarled tree, and seeing it reminds you of all the old blocks and the limitations that have been preventing that part of you from seizing control and doing the things that are most in line with your higher self, the real purpose of your life, the life you want to lead, because this is your life now, is it not? And now you're reaching into your pocket. You pull out a key. And you open the door to your lavatory. And because the door is heavy, you have to push the door using some of your weight. And find the door is wide enough open, you step inside, whereupon you find yourself standing in your lavatory, and you close the door, feeling the brush of the red fuzzy baize which covers the door, deadening the sound. This lavatory is yours, and when you're inside this space, you can feel free to take a deep breath as you scan this space, this place, feel it on your skin. Where can you see or get a sense of the apparatus you've used in your scientific experiments? There's test tubes, shelves filled with jars, different chemicals. Other shelves have rows of books upon them, which academic books and scientific books, books written about philosophies past and present. And when you breathe, you can smell the parchment from the paper, as well as a unique smell from all the chemicals. And that also creates filled with straw, which things important have been shipped to you from other countries. Important apparatus to help you with your work, special chemicals. The laboratory you stand in now is a dark past. Before it belonged to you, it belonged to a previous surgeon who would teach his students about anatomy by dissecting the bodies of the dead. The rest of your household are uncomfortable with the past of this laboratory and any reference to the dead, but as a scientist you recognise the constant state of flux between death and life and rebirth. But you're quite comfortable and unafraid. You enjoy learning. You enjoy exploring and challenges that push you onwards. Nothing feels finer to you than when you experience a flow of creativity. There's a small clock on the mantelpiece of the fire. The fire has already been lit by your servant Paul. The time on the clock is exactly 12 a.m. You can feel a spark of excitement now for the change you intend to make, the transformation that you will enjoy. In front of the fire is a full-length tilting mirror made of cheval glass. As you look at yourself dressed as you are, and you feel that earlier irritation from earlier that frustrated you, that tired you, that scared you, that bored you. As you see that part of you in the mirror staring back, just see, experience, get a sense of that part of you, get a sense of the posture, the thoughts running in the head. And you smile at that you. And you thank that part of you for leading you to this place, for protecting you, for looking out for you, for going through everything you've been through the whole time. But you tell that part in a moment, it's going to change. It's going to transform into something powerful. Because like an actor, You've played that part for long enough and you're ready to create a new story. Because that was not your story, was it? And you're not the Doctor in 1835, are you? So who are you? Who do you want to be? This is your time, your space, your moment on this planet. In the show mirror, you can see that old part clearly. And you cast off these doctor's clothes, this make-believe outfit you've been wearing. Throw the clothes into the fire. You can keep your pants on if you feel more comfortable, obviously. The thoughts and doubts have held you back from living your real life, the life you were born to lead, the life that was intended for you. As you throw those old clothes into the fire, you can see all the other clothes being made to wear that no longer fit, or that you've outgrown, or that you've never liked in the first place. And for many years, I looked in the mirror and I saw a school teacher staring back at me. But I took those clothes and I burnt them in the fire so I could become free of that. And you can become free. What thoughts can you throw into the fire? And imagine you can think and feel any way you want. What would you like to be? Imagining about yourself. How would you like to feel? What would you like to do? As you get a sense of that you, that confident, relaxed, peaceful, unafraid, loving, creative, ever you value. Scan all the colour jars upon the shelves, the test tubes, get a sense of the colours, get a feeling. Whatever works for you, get a sense of that now on the shelves, and choose the chemicals you need to make the secret potion. The secret one you made that time when you transform into that other you. The other you who is doing the job you want, and the relationship you want, and the body you want, living the life you want. As you see that you, choose from the row of neatly stacked test tubes. Choose the chemicals. Get a sense of the labels on the glass: confidence, passion, creativity, courage, joy. Choose the chemicals you require and mix them up to make the perfect alchemy. Only your unconscious mind knows the exact balance, the perfect composition to breathe in new life and transform. And let that part of you who dares to live the life you want to take control. That's right, sometimes you have to let go of control in order to take control. And sometimes you have to lose control to discover who you are, who you really want to be, and be that part of you. That confident, relaxed, assured, creative, intelligent, loving, driven, satisfied, calm, that you can solve things and meet with challenges with joy and excitement and optimism. So mix those chemicals in the test tube until they're just right. Until you can smell something sweet and tempting. The flame of fire seems to leap up. A little more as you begin to sip the chemical composition. And imagine that flavour in your tongue, swallowing it. Something delicious. And as you know, as soon as you start to drink the composition, you will change. You can already begin to feel the transformation taking place as a liquid chemical travels down your throat. You get a sense of a pleasant, warm, tingling sensation. That's right, you can feel it now. Imagine that liquid being infused by every part of your anatomy, every cell, every atom, every limb. The warming sensation continues to grow as the transformation takes hold. You are changing. Things are changing. Your body and mind, shapes are changing. The clothes shrink or fall as you become the person that you saw, the person who you have known yourself to be. Confident, assured, peaceful, relaxed, creative, enjoying your life in the exact way you've always wanted to enjoy it. You look in the mirror and see that new you looking back at you. See the expression on your face. See the clothes you're wearing. Get a sense of the thoughts that occupy your mind. How good is that new feeling, that new you feeling? Imagine that new you stepping out of the laboratory and going out into the world. What job will you be doing? What friends will you be spending time with? What kind of relationship will you find to fulfill your heart's desire? How will you be spending your time creatively, spiritually, physically? See yourself in 6 months from now, living your life the exact way you'd like to be living it. Only once you can see yourself clearly, then you can open the door out of the laboratory and step out into the world, dazzling world of light and opportunity. You can give that part of you a name and promise that that you, all of you, will integrate it and come forth when you acquire him or her from the depths of your psyche. Because as you look at that part of you in the mirror, the world could begin changing now. Because every new breath you take carries a new thought, a new feeling, a new direction as you move towards that new you, having a sense of that new you in the moonlight or the lamplight. Or even in your room, and every time you switch on the light in your house, you'll remember that part of you that's been integrated, and you will bring forth that part of you. Be able to consult with that part of you. That part is integrated, encouraging you on. A light, confident part of you. And only when your unconscious mind has installed all of these ideas, suggestions, so that these words become your reality, you can come back to count up to 10. 1, let all these suggestions manifest. 2, on the deepest level possible. 3, allowing connection, vitality, and confidence. 4, drifting up. 5, breathing. 6, feeling energized. 7, 8, 9, oxygen pumping through your body. 10, feeling incredible because you are incredible. You can open your eyes. I see you went for a sleep, Jay.
Thank you. Amazing.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Wow.
Thanks, Laura.
You, Laura, loved it. Just
Did
loved
you?
it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good. Do you feel like you've
An
got something?
amazing journey. Loved it.
Oh, good. I'm so pleased. Did you find anything or get rid of anything?
Yeah, I found my part is called Fearless.
That's what you want, the fearlessness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like some more fearlessness. Is always good. Well, depends who you are. Yeah. Anyone else got anything they want to ask or say?
That was amazing, Laura. I felt like it was so different. It was so different from anything I'd experienced, and I really got into it, and it really worked for me. I could really sense it was about that, you know, when you said about throwing the clothes off into the fire, that was really powerful for me. I could
That's
really,
right.
yeah, it was fantastic.
I mean, it is. I'm really glad, and I'm really glad it worked for you because it is quite left field. I'm aware of that. Which is why I said at the beginning. I don't know if you were there at the beginning. It's really valuable to me to have you lot here because you're incredible. All of you are incredible and open and emotionally intelligent. So I think if it's going to be useful to anyone, it's going to be useful to you. So
Yeah.
it's so thank you very much. That's great. Sally, you got your hand up. It's very polite of you.
Thank you. I came to this because I have a second interview on Tuesday and I really want the job. And I know that the thing that was going to get in the way of it was my sense of anti-establishment. I act a bit silly because I don't like all the sort of corporate way of doing things. And I don't want to be like that. I want to be a professional. I want to be business-like. And the weird thing is that I've found this key in my bag that's like a new key, and I don't know where it's come from. And I'm going to take that key and remember this, and I'll go for that interview on Tuesday with my suit on. And
That's brilliant. So what did you say to that part of you then? That part that you don't want?
I threw away the clothes that I normally wear, and I put on professional clothes, and I said, it's okay to be a professional and to be committed to something. It doesn't mean we have to act like some of them do, because some of them can do it, you know.
You can bring a breath of fresh air, can't you? You can bring in something new. And,
yes.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that. I mean, I spent my years failing interviews for all different reasons for different times, but yeah, definitely recognise that.
Yeah. So we'll
That's
see
good,
what happens on Tuesday.
Well, yeah, good luck. What's the job for?
Job is for a business support administrator with Gamma Aviation, which is a lovely place. I already work there, but not in that job. But I really want that job, and it pays really well.
Yeah, let me know how it goes.
I'll put it on the poster.
Yeah, do. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was a trip. It really
Was it?
It was like being in a movie.
That's good. And yeah, that's good. I like to see it. Was it Lucy that came in?
Yeah, I probably saw she was nudging my arm and
Yeah.
all stuff. No, I don't know. And I think my son came in at some point. So yeah, I was out of it. I was gone. So
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to take you on a trip, Freddie.
it was very good. Very good.
Good. Yeah, the sound effects is quite a fiddly thing. But did you enjoy the sound effects?
But I think at times they were just, being absolutely honest, I thought they were too loud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it kind of drowned out your voice, but it didn't kind of bring me out of it. But it was my conscious mind's going,
Oh, okay.
as like was critiquing, and and that wasn't my place to be critiquing. But I thought you were going to ask me this question or ask us this question.
I'm glad I did.
And I'm going to be, and to be honest, I think those sound effects could be still there, but I think for me,
To be honest, it's quite clunky as well.
It's hard from you to know what it's sounding like this end. But I don't know what anyone else thought, but I thought there were times when it was just turned out your voice.
Bit more backgroundy would have been great, just to have that suggestion of it. But I agree with Freddie. But as you said, it didn't. It
didn't come out.
No, it was interesting.
That was the thing. It was just the conscious going, this is too loud.
Yeah.
I'm like unconscious mind's going deeper, and I was gone. But there's part, it's like when we're in hypnosis, we're aware of what's going on around us, but it doesn't really bother us. It doesn't. It made me wonder why I wasn't coming out when my dog was twitching my arm and my son was coming in, and I'm just ignoring it all because I'm in it. So that's my only.
No, thank you very much. Because I mean, I did spend time trying to work out the sound, but actually in the process of with the group, it felt clunky even to go from one to the other, and there wasn't really. I couldn't really modulate the sound. I tried it out on my kids this morning, but they're probably not the best because they're like anything loud is fine. Anyway, I did notice, Anne. I did wonder if you were struggling at one point with the volume of the music at the beginning, but I didn't know there was two of you. I thought, oh shit, is this the music? But
yeah, for me, you told me sit forward. Because I've got a big family with a lot of people, I have my volume up really, really loud on this MacBook. So when the music started, it was too loud, and I thought, I'm going to get used to it, but I didn't. So I just turned my volume down. I was okay after I turned that was me having my volume really high. So I turned it down, that was fine from there.
So I had a bit of a hard time hearing your voice, but I would definitely keep the music, the sounds, but at a lower volume and to hear you better. And I could also hear, maybe it was the keyboard or something, but it didn't bring me out of hypnosis. No.
I think I forgot to turn the volume down actually, because I'm obviously thinking about, you know, the fact that there's, you know, I don't know how there's more of you when I was sort of trying it out on my own. It's a bit of a different scenario, isn't it, when you're doing it for the first time with but yeah, no, that's pretty. I appreciate that. Yeah.
But I would keep the sounds. The music the journey was amazing, simply amazing.
Okay, well that's great.
So I was absolutely gone. I was zapped. I mean, I don't even know this. I don't know. I must have looked really weird because
no, you look great.
Up and I was. I'm a bit worried about looking at it. Actually, I think I looked a bit weird on it.
I can't tell you how great it is to actually see you like that for a change.
I was so gone. Yeah.
No.
But even though part of my conscious mind is going, this is a bit loud, and you know, and I was aware of the other stuff. My unconscious mind is going, we don't care. We're in this. We're on the journey, you know. But as just as you know, as you asked for feedback. But no, I thought the way you put it together, I thought it was great, honestly.
Thank you very much.
And I was thinking of my time when I was there, how much I admire you, Laura, and I'm saying this in front of everybody here. You know, you're pretty fearless, and of all, you know, that's something I really, you know, appreciate. You know, obviously, you've been on the retreats, and straight away you're on the street, you know, hypnotizing people, and you're just great. So, you know,
thank you so much. That means a lot to me, Freddie.
I mean it.
Even you being here, you know, means a lot to me. I mean, I was trying not to be nervous, but it's very difficult. But I'm so grateful to you.
And the whole thing resonated with me because just a few days ago, you know, we all have that part of us which we think is like the bad part. You know, that if you know, I don't think I've got many bad parts, but there is a part of me which society might say, well, that's a bad part. That's not 100%. But just the other day, I kind of accepted that as an aspect of me. It's not a murderous part. Don't get me wrong, about murdering people, but it's an aspect of who I am. And if this part of me, like you were saying about the shy part of you, or the emotional part of you, for many years, I would get like my hide potion was certain like black and white whiskey. I could drink Bell's whiskey, I'd be all right. I'd drink a certain kind of whiskey, and the hide would come out in conversation. And someone pointed out to me once, but I was afraid of locking that part away because I thought it defends me. It's the part of me. What happens if I get in a fight and I don't have that kind of nasty part of me? But that part's been locked up, caged up for many, many years. So I think the story you were saying, I've never thought about that, but for a lot of people, it's alcohol is the potion that brings out the hide in many men particularly, you know. And I think when he was writing that, I don't know, but maybe that's what he'd seen maybe in people, you know, people, perfectly good men under normal circumstances, when they're on the potion, you know, they turn into Mr. Hyde. And I had that. Not to that extent, but I used to get pretty nasty in arguments, and I stopped drinking it. So, yeah, I mean, I think we have those aspects of our lives, and sometimes embracing it, you go, okay, well, instead of thinking it was a bad part of you, it's just an aspect of who you are, and it makes me what I am. So that was but then I've got to this age. It was taking me a long time to kind of accept all the aspects of myself. So I thought it resonated with me big style what you were doing here today.
That's great. I do think because we do judge those parts, don't we? And they definitely all have uses. And you're right, booze is probably that thing for most. Like even like doing stand up, still I was quite pleased. I did a gig the other day, and it was a dead room. Really, there was like they weren't charging entrance. But I only because it's been so long since I've done it. So the last couple I had I had a double JD and then another one. So I had like 3 drinks. This one I just had one, so I felt like, okay, that's good. That's a massive step, because you know you don't want to be reliant on it, do you? But it somehow enables you to bring part of you. You know, this drugs and drink, doesn't it? That's what.
But that being said, you can now, you know how you feel when you have a double JD. you could just get into that state and anchor it. You don't have to drink. You know, now you know what you know about anchoring. I would suggest to you get into that, because you are fearless. You know, you're fearless without a drink. I know you are, because I've seen you. And, you know, you've just got to step into that and go, how do I feel when I've had that? Get into that mode and then anchor it for yourself. And then you won't need the drink. That's my thinking on it. But I don't know if you saw that little thing that Kev filmed here, walking over the bridge. But that's, you know, that kind of, I don't know what you call it, a poem or what it was, but where it starts with, I am several. There are crowds in me.
Yeah.
You know, at the table of my soul, many sit, and I am all of them. You'll never know who you're sitting with. You'll never know which one you're with. You know, so that's there's the, it says, it goes, the old man, the child, the sage, the fool. You know, you'll never know who you're sitting with. And that's very true of all of us. There are crowds in us. You know, that we are several.
Yeah.
It's embracing those parts and then recognizing the ones, like you say, that you want to change and go, okay, is this serving me or not? I think it's really good protocol. And I think, you know, I'm glad I'm here, because
I'm glad you're here.
No, but I think, you know, asking people that care about you to be upfront and say, what do you think? Because I think you can make that something of real, you know, even better than it is. But the effort you put into making that story and doing the sound effects and everything else is phenomenal. And I was gone. So watch your space.
Thank you.
Never be the same again.
Thank you. Is everyone else all right? Anyone else want to say anything before I take?
I'll just chime, Laura, I'll just chime in. What I loved about it was how many layers there were. You know, there were certain parts of it that I thought, oh, well, this isn't resonating. It's hard for me to get into that role or that character. And then all of a sudden you opened a window or a crack or a door and allowed us to step in, and then it shifted. And so I felt like, oh, well, maybe that was something I was supposed to explore. And the more invitations you gave us to take on new roles or to look into the darkness or to notice the colors, I just found there were so many invitations to for all of us to explore. So to me, that was
amazing feedback.
Layers of depth to it was phenomenal. So
thank you so much. That was my intention. So thank you, because obviously I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a Victorian doctor, but so it really made me happy that aspect has worked. I'm also, like, only recently beginning to hear from people with aphantasia. So it's not something I've really thought about at all, and I can't say that this will work for them. But even knowing that there's a part, you know, like that, you know, like when they see blackness, and, well, what can you do with that? Well, let's go with the blackness then. So there's a part at the beginning that was deliberately sort of created because I now understand there's people I can't imagine not being able to imagine. I can't imagine that. So I thought, right, okay, so let's work with blackness, because actually that's kind of where we start. That's where the whole world, the cosmos, starts from blackness, doesn't it? So yeah, but thank you. That's amazing feedback.
Well, I was just going to say well done. That's what I can say. You know, as I said, you know, you're great. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, and thank you once again, Freddie, for being here and for.
I'm pleased you invited me. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's such a gift, Lara. I just want to add in. It was wonderful and interesting because the sound being loud, I felt, did take me out of it, but then it turns out it didn't, because when someone said about throwing the clothes in the fire, I apparently had gone so deep I don't remember that. So
I remember you saying you keep your pants on. I do remember, but it was too late. Mine were in the fire.
I was hoping someone would laugh, and then I was going to throw in a suggestion, but there was no laughs. I'll deliver it better, and I'll get a laugh, and then I'll be having the suggestion. All right, everyone. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It went so deep, Laura. It was great. Thank you.
I love your voice. I believe you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette. Speak
Take
to you
care.
soon. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.